You have failed me for the last time. Hmm? Oh, hi. I'm OmnusI. Welcome to the lair of OmnusI. Round 2. Later. Hello friends, I am Rob here once more in my basement, also known as the lair of OmnusI, and I want to talk to you for a little bit about subscription boxes. We've done this for quite some time. Started out with Loot Crate because they were cheap and everybody had heard about them. They're dang near ubiquitous. And so I got Loot Crate for a little while. Was positively impressed with some of the things that I got, but for the most part I realized fairly quickly that $20 got me a decent t-shirt. I'd say the kind of things you can find at a Hot Topic most often. And then just some stuff. Not loot, not great, just stuff. Things that serve to fill a box. And we have Magic here with us today, don't we? Don't we? Come over here. Not going to get it. Only when she wants to. But, so we did Loot Crate, and I just realized the junk wasn't worth it. So I canceled that subscription. But I had the taste of it. It's an interesting thing. It's a little bit like gambling, isn't it? You don't know what you're going to get. You put in a little money in advance, and then the people behind the scenes go hunting down what they can to fill the box, and next thing you know, you get shipped something completely at random. Maybe it's going to be awesome things, maybe it's not going to be quite as awesome, but still good. You're hoping that it doesn't suck. So, well, I did that for about 5 months, and I got some junk. And then they started veering into topics. They're very topical. And if you don't care about the topic, like one time it was Archer. I don't watch Archer, never have. So when I got a shirt with Archer on it and some stuff, it just didn't interest me. So, you know, that was fine. So I canceled that. And I decided maybe I'll look for something a little bit more towards my interests. What I go for. And I looked and I did some research and found out there were several role-playing game themed boxes. And I went through them and I picked out the one that I thought, from looking at previous content, had the content that I was looking for, as well as a price point that was friendly. The problem is, when you go with something like role-playing games, you're dealing with a limited number of vendors. You know, the kind of people who can supply you are going to be narrower. They have thin profit margins too, so you're not going to get great deals. Not like mass-produced merchandise that Loot Crate can get. So you would still get a nice t-shirt in almost every box. There's only one box that I didn't get a t-shirt, and that one I had the bandana with, so that was okay. But you get a shirt, which, if they're mass producing it, probably costs them about $5 or $6. And then it's catch as catch can. Now the problem I had was that with RPGCrate, it was really up and down. What you really want in these crates is something that will wow you, something that you can't get at the local store. And I had a discussion with the person, with the gentleman behind RPGCrate. His name is Chris Henson. Nice guy, very receptive to criticism. And, you know, I'm very understanding. I know that's a really tough gig. because you have to constantly be trolling outward and trying to gather in anything that you can, keeping at a profit margin so you don't bankrupt yourself with a month's crate, which can happen like that. You promise something that's going to cost you too much, and you suddenly can't, meet your expenses. It could kill your service just like that. Good ones can go month after month after month. Again, profit margin isn't huge, but that has been one of those things that that I'm mindful of, that it's a tough job. And occasionally, the crates were decent. Not a lot of wow usually, but solid value. The shirts were always good. I could see the work that Chris put into making his crates. He provided content that he made himself in his little one-page dungeons, which I thought were fine. Actually, his layout skills, the quality of his art, and mapping was top-notch. I think he puts together a nice crate. The downside for me was that most of his content was driven on giving you adventure content. For a lot of people, that's fine, and it's a decent value, but not to me. I make up too much of my own stuff. I don't use a lot of pre-generated material. So the fact that I was getting another adventure from Frog God Games or two every box, and then some other dungeon content, and then Chris's thing, it soured on me fairly quickly. And my closet is filled up with gaming t-shirts, which is nice, but I don't need many more. I'm running out of room. So I canceled my subscription to RPGCrate. And I was kind of sad about that. Like I said, I want to support Chris, but I can't give money into things that I'm just not getting what I want out of it. So I thought, but then two things happened. Number one, Chris sent me one last box. I didn't pay for this one. I canceled my subscription back in February, right after I got the January crate. He was running a little behind. And then he sent me another crate. And I contacted him saying, I canceled my subscription. You shouldn't be sending me a crate. And he said, don't worry about the cost. This one's on me as a thanks. And then we sent a couple of emails about what kind of things he could have put in that might have kept me around. Or what kind of things could he change that might draw me back in the future, which is very forward thinking, I thought. There's absolutely nothing in the way that Chris does his business that at all sours me. I think he has a good service, and I think it's value driven. I think that people who get into it are going to get some good materials, especially if you really want those kind of things. So I'm going to open the crate in just a second. But in case Chris is watching, or any of you are interested in some of the other options, I also was looking at, there are two other RPG services that I had given some serious consideration to. One was called Mythord, which offered really high value stuff, but it was the most expensive RPG crate out there at the time. An entire adventure supported with props and things that tied in with it. I thought it was a genius idea. You get one really good adventure, and then you give everything that you might need. Give the miniatures, maybe some new dice if you have some new ideas, cards, prop items, things like that. I thought was a good idea, but it was outpriced for me. Then there was Dungeon Crate. Dungeon Crate's a little tiny bit more expensive than RPG Crate. At the time, they were still pretty new, and I looked through their things, and they had a lot of things like, you remember Shrinky Dinks? Where it was a piece of plastic, and then you'd do art on one side, and you'd shrink it down, so it was like a little stained glass little figurine, or use it for Christmas ornaments or whatever. Well, I used to have those, and one of the things that RPG or Dungeon Crate was doing that really didn't impress me was they were tied in with somebody who was doing transparent plastic with a dungeon character drawn on one side and then put into a base. It's like having a miniature but not 3D. I'd rather have the 3D figure, so that didn't impress me. And they had dice. I have lots of dice. The dice they had were cool, but nothing, blowing my mind or anything. But every once in a while I'd look and see what they had, and every once in a while they'd have something that looked kind of cool. So they had an offer of getting a mini crate. $20, they would throw a bunch of random stuff, and I'm sure with these kind of services, you end up with lots of odds and ends all over the place. I'm like, yeah, let's see what they give me. So I went in on that service, and the turnaround was very quick. I got my package about I don't think it was a week later, and it had a lot of things that really, really did impress me. And so out of fairness, these are things that I consider either really good items or wow items. So, for example, in all of the RPG crates that I've had, Effin' Cool Minis, who I'm guessing does small lot pewter figures, had figures, and the quality was either okay to very, very good. The Dungeon Crate went with Reaper miniatures, which is fine. I like Reaper. One of the first things they had was a Dwarven Tavern Keeper, which immediately made me think of my friend Eric Tenkar, Stana, who his alter ego is the Dwarf Tavern Keeper Tenkar, and his site Tenkar's Tavern, which gave me a chuckle. It's not an adventuring figure, but it's one of those great NPCs that you can drop in and use just about anywhere. This cute little health potion pendant. It's nothing earth-shattering, but it's cute. Something a little bit different. A figure for Spiritual Weapon. Spiritual Hammer in this case. Translucent plastic, little stars to highlight it. A hand holding a hammer. I like the idea of having miniatures for the different effects, and as one that takes up some space, this is a good one that I will almost certainly be using if I don't make up a character that uses that. Somebody went through and made a 12-sided die with 4 numbers repeated in the form of these little symbols on the sides of it, which is nice. It's a 4-sided die that you don't have to try gripping the little caltrop-like 4-sider. And it's got a nice color, it's a decent size. I thought that was cute. That wasn't wow, but it's cute. These were cool. And a good idea of self-promotion, too. Inspiration tokens with Dungeon Crate's logo right on it, but in 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons, having something like these to show inspiration, which is a commodity that you can cash in to the Dungeon Master when you want to invoke your inspiration. It's functional, it's fills a really good need that most people don't have. Otherwise, that inspiration is just a tick on your sheet. How much cooler is it to just be able to take a coin, throw it over to the player who just earned a point of inspiration? So that's a wow idea. Very simple. And then again, it fulfills the use of promoting yourself too. But this was a really good idea. A lot of thought went into that. A couple of Game Science 10-sided dice. I like Game Science just for the precision and everything. But this I thought was really cool. This is to me another wow thing. This is a thin piece of plywood, it looks like. But on the back it's got a patterning like dungeon floor stones. And it is a rangefinder, so that you can find different ranges appropriate for spells or movement if you're not using a battle mat or tile layout. And I got 2 of them, so even more utility. And you can then track out your movement as you go and on the fly. So those are just a few of the things. There was some more miniatures. There were a collection of their own take on the one-page dungeon scenario. There was a Dungeon Crate promotional button, which was nice. Oh, and also their business card has a character sheet on the back side of it, suitable for 5th edition. I thought that was kind of cute. Wish I had thought of that first. I would have filled in my own stats and everything. So that's what they sent me. Now let's see what the latest RPG Crate is. Now I've already canceled my subscription and I'm not going to renew it. But I thought it would, to be fair, let's see what their last offering is together. And as I've done with all of these unboxing videos, we're going to open it up together, and I'm going to let you look at it first, and we'll see what we see. Alright. And you want to open it? No. She doesn't want to open it. So this is what we have. Alright. So the theme is battle. But we're not going to look at the content card right away, because I'm looking at the t-shirt and I'm already in love with the t-shirt, which is amazing. First of all, you look at this guy right off the bat. One of the toughest looking orcs I've ever seen, with this big flaming hammer in one hand, spiky armor. It's red. It's a black gaming t-shirt again, as so many of these are. And he's dual wielding with another flaming hammer with this nice dynamic swipe across the front. I mean, this is the kind of thing that stands out. This is a great gaming t-shirt. I will probably be wearing this at GameholeCon this November. This is that kind of shirt. So, it's very nice. I have never, again, and I will say this, I have never had a problem with the quality of the shirts from RPGCrate. They've always been very good. Both the design elements have been almost universally good. The sandwich one was a little off, but the rest of them have been fantastic. This one that's very good. I like that. Keep going with that. Next, we go for the effing cool miniature. Some assembly required on this one, which is unusual. Most of them have been single, already together, but this one doesn't have a head. So, it's a little difficult to see, but he's got a battle axe, a broad-headed battle axe. I wonder if it's that orc fellow. He's gone down to just one weapon. This miniature, apparently, the axe has his hands. You just assemble those on. Fairly basic miniaturing stuff. So we'll just set that aside. Alright. First of all, we have the 3 one-page dungeons, which are created by Chris and his, I'm guessing his wife, Teresa. And again, art on the face of the one is that orc, and then he has a map for each place. The titles are Brother's Keeper, Undercover in Highmoor, and Forest Camp. So it's, again, 3 short 5th edition compatible adventures. These are written for average levels of 9. Total levels of 36, so decent sized group. Actually, that's a really nice slot. A lot of adventures even usually start to go above 10th level, 12th and so, or start at lower level. So having something in between, very useful. It's a good area to aim at. And I noticed too that from this season, their Knights of the Open Road, or Adventures on the Open Road, they've kept up a progression so that you have things as characters along that plot line can deal with along the way, which is really good. It's a good logical progression. It's a good idea. So, to go along with the adventures, we have a Dungeon Master screen with some nice art again, very orky. And again, featuring that crazy looking orc with the flaming hammers, as well as a couple other nasty looking orcs with their own theme, who are Flamehammer and Firefist of Chief Flamehammer, the Cleaver of General Gorefist, and the Runeblade of Garten the Mauler. some little things that help out with those adventures. Cool. It's a good idea. Honestly, Wizards of the Coast had a good idea with all of their adventure paths that they did. They ended up making their own DM screen, again, which targeted with the art from that story path and targeted with information. It's a good idea. And they took that to heart and did that. That's smart. And then we have a Frog God Games adventure called Goblins and Gnolls for RPGCrate. And again, looking at it, it's black and white. It's nice. It's got a couple adventures in it. One by Jim Ward called Deep in the Vale. Death in the Painted Canyons by Kenneth Spencer. And overall quality, it's nice. Again, I don't need it. It's another adventure that will sit off to the side unless I decide that I want to delve into these. And I probably will at some point. A lot of times I'll want to get to the meat of my story after some initial adventuring. And my cat is doing some acrobatics in the background. Hopefully she won't be too distracting or cause a ruckus. But yeah, it's another adventure, another one of the not WoW things that I'm not going with the subscription anymore for. Here comes something that I always thought was a good idea since they started doing this. A recipe card with an adventure. It's one of the charming things I like, and I will probably pursue this, trying to get a collection of these after I no longer get subscriptions from them. Goblin Fingers, 24 blanched almonds, 12 large goblin fingers, 12 ounces of green candy coating, but you can use 12 large pretzel rods instead of goblin fingers, though you'll be missing much of the flavor. And again, it's a cute little snack food, finger food, as it were. And then a short map about going after some goblins to make the recipe. Cute. I'm a fan of that idea. It's something new, something that they have exclusively for their crate. It's a good idea. It's not compelling enough to keep me, but it's those kind of things that I still think it's a good value. So, Battle, exclusive t-shirts. Awesome shirt. Love the shirt. Game Master screen. It's a good idea. If you're going to be using the module, it's nice to have something to support it. Dragon foam in the bottom of the crate. Yes, we do. We have another sheet of this. And honestly, I had an idea. These are all pocked and diced so that you can pull pieces out of them and keep miniatures in. What I'm thinking of doing is I'm just going to shred it, turn this all into tiny little cubes, put them in the drawers of my shelves and put my miniatures in there so they've got this foam around them and don't get scuffed up, but I don't have to have these perfect little neat trays where they fit back into. I think that'll work. We'll have to see. So anyhow, got the Dragon Foam. The Premier Metal Miniatures. The Red Blood Clan will destroy all that oppose it. No mercy, no quarter. Orc Warrior with Ruined Axe. Assembly required. Head and axe. That would have been hilarious if you just had the worst critical in the world and took his own head and hands off with a crit. Maybe a cursed axe. Nah. We're going to have to fix that. But the 3 adventures and the 4 adventures on the open road. The recipe for adventure. Goblin Fingers. And the adventure Goblins and Gnolls. Again, value-wise, well, the shirt is nice. The adventure is I'm sure fine. It's probably about $10 that you can get the PDF for, I suspect. The recipe is cute. The one-page adventures are good. The figure looks fine. The assembly shouldn't be that big of a deal, quite honestly. Oh, Cat likes the box, so it's got the feline seal of approval because it comes with a box that she now owns. So yes, again, no WoW. That's the one thing. Everything that came in there that I'm pleased with, I expected. But probably wouldn't have paid that much because I wouldn't have wanted the adventure content. So again, if you need adventures or you're looking to have a library of adventures, RPGCrate isn't a bad deal. And especially if you need gaming t-shirts that are excellent quality, Magic, do not mess with the camera. I apologize. Magic is a little attention starved, so excuse me. She wants to be my camera cat and editor, and that's just not on. So that is our goodbye to RPGCrate. Got some nice boxes, got a few nice things out of them, several adventures. But yeah, it'll be the last one, unless something truly amazing changes and their WoW stuff picks up. One thing I would highly recommend, Chris, if you pick this up, if you catch this video, a lot of those insightful things that are useful in a game, carry your brand, nice things to have. And occasionally, sometimes you find that thing that is the WoW thing in the box. But, yeah, we're going to keep hoping, and we'll see. And maybe if I'm pining for these things for too long, maybe we'll work out a deal to possibly get a Dungeon Crate subscription and open up some more of these boxes and share this with all of you. I hope you've enjoyed this. I have. And if you have any input, what your feelings on it are, comment section is right below. This, as I said, will certainly not be the last interesting thing that I break out and bring to you. But yeah, this should be the last RPGCrate for the foreseeable future. So once again, thank you for joining me. I am Rob here in my basement lair, and I am wishing you safe and profitable adventures. Thank you.